Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Friday to you. I hope you are set up to have an absolutely amazing day today. And if you're not, we're going to talk all about purpose today, which is kind of piggybacking off of a panel conversation I was a part of last night. We're going to talk about leaning into your joyful purpose. And I have, I feel like I'm going to be a little bit biased here, a great analogy as we talk about discovering your Ikigai, your joyful purpose. We've got all that and more coming up on a brand new episode right now. Good morning, everybody, and happy Friday to you. It is Friday, April 11th, 2025. I hope you are doing well today. My name is Jessica Dugas. I am your host here on Project Joy Live. It is your triple shot of good vibes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at this 9 a.m. Eastern time hour. I'm so excited to be the joy for you today and encourage you to remember that you are the joy as well. As I mentioned, something that's bringing me a lot of joy this morning is that I was a part of a panel last night on LinkedIn and in the Go Brunch community, which some of you know is the software company that we use for our virtual community. And I have so many things to share about being a part of the panel, but there was just a lot of joy in it for me because the energy was really amazing. I met a lot of new people. In fact, there was three people there that four people there that I knew. Everybody else I didn't know. Um, and so it's always fun, I feel like, to get to know new people, expand your network a little bit, and have a great conversation with great energy. And so that was really enjoyable for me last night. And we got to dive into this topic of purpose through talking about discovering your Ikigai. If you've never heard of that before, or maybe you've heard of it, but you're not really sure a lot about what it is, I'm going to share that with you today. And I'm also going to chime in on a question that was asked last night that I purposely chose not to answer. It came in from, let's see. Justin Peterson was a viewer last night and he asked this question, and I chose not to answer because that could have been a whole show in itself. So here we are. So we're going to talk about that today as well. We have birthdays to do today. We have lots to celebrate. Also, I wanted to tell you guys too that it is National Submarine Day. And growing up here in southeastern Connecticut, specifically in Groton, Connecticut, if you didn't know, Groton, Connecticut is the submarine capital of the world. Why is it, you might ask? Well, number one, the sub school is here for the Navy. And number two, it is the home of Electric Boat General Dynamics, and they design the submarines for the US Navy. And so it's very cool that today is National Submarine Day, and I live in the area of the submarine capital of the world. So I think it's super fun. Um, Also bringing me some joy today, and I would love for you, if you're joining us live, to share where you're joining us from and what is bringing you joy today. I went to the mall yesterday. For those of you who are local to me, the Crystal Mall in Waterford, Connecticut. When you hear that name nowadays, you kind of just go, and it's like a sad moment. The mall is not doing well. It's not doing well. But I sort of want to change the narrative around it a little bit. So I asked on my Facebook page yesterday, about, for people that live close to me, would you like to see the mall sort of, be brought back to how it was, or, be like, what do you want to see? And I kind of was speaking directly to millennials and Gen X, because I feel like it was our generation that really did the hanging out in the malls thing. Let me know if hanging out at the mall was a thing that you did. But it's definitely what we did. There were a lot of events there in addition to just the shopping and the food. And as a teenager, it was really great. It was a great place to hang out. I feel like it was, I don't know, it was just such a different time in the 80s and 90s at the mall. But you go in there now and there's hardly any stores left. A lot of the big stores have pulled out. JC Penney's, Sears, Macy's, I forgot what all was in there. Even the Christmas tree shop, which is frequent here to New England area. So there's all of these big stores and stuff that have pulled out of the mall, and I think that that helped to create its sort of decline. But that being said, I still have friends that work at the mall in some of the few stores that are left. And so I feel like when people come in and are talking about the mall is dead, I just don't really like that mindset. Like, it's struggling for sure. It's being challenged for sure. But I don't like the using the words it's dead, because then that makes me question, can it even come back? If people have decided in their mind that the mall is dead, period, end of story, does it even matter what is done to it? Will it make people change? And from a marketing perspective, it's really interesting as well, because it's like, eh, the question from a marketing perspective is who is the clientele now? I feel like it's different now than it was in the 80s and 90s. And the second question is, are people that are the clientele in this particular area willing to shift their spending habits back to the mall? Because obviously, since the mall hasn't been doing well, they've shifted to either online or maybe another shopping plaza over here, or maybe it's Walmart or what have you. So it's such a big question. And so I asked on my page, it sounded like a lot of people were interested in having it come back. And then my friend Siobhan, who, if you guys are in southeastern Connecticut and you need a real estate agent, you need to see Siobhan I do this every time. Siobhan Abrahimi. If you need a real estate agent, please see my friend. But she was even chiming in about how the owners of the mall, the newest owners, they had initially planned on just like getting rid of the whole thing. Uh and but now they she says that they say that they're motivated to have like local shops and come in there, which I think would be so fun. I think it would be so fun. And I have other ideas. The big stores, like where the Sears and the Macy's and the JC Penney's and stuff were, I want to see like indoor mini golf, roller skating. Some of the malls that I've been to in different areas are bringing in like comedy clubs and things like that. So making it a place where people can really gather and do fun things and spend time, I think would be super fun to do. And I frankly would move in right next door. I would love it. I would love it. But I worry. I worry as someone who wants to be involved, who's had the thought. I've got a, you guys know I have a ton of ideas all the time. Um, if I have this idea to get involved and I want to open the store, I worry. I worry about the people whose mindsets are malls are a thing of the past, or this mall is dead, because then it's like I don't want to put all of my energy into this creation and have the owners just decide, well, there's not enough people, that are interested, so we're just going to go ahead and flatten it. That would break my little heart. Are you kidding me? It would just break my heart. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that malls are a thing of the past? Does a mall still would it bring you joy to go and visit a mall? Do you have a mall where you are that is that still brings you joy, that maybe is not struggling like our Crystal Mall here in Waterford, Connecticut? Let me know all of those things, and we're going to head over to our Joyversation time, and I'm going to head over to the comments as well. Let's do it. Right. So fun here today. I'm heading over to the comments to say good morning to everybody. My local friend Michael McDonald is here. Good morning, Michael. Are you still running? Do you have runs coming up? Do you have races coming up? Let me know. I will put on the T-Rest mask again if I need to do that. Good morning, Brittany. Good to see you. Brittany said my boys do it way more than I did. I spent a lot of time at bonfires riding for yeah, that was not a thing here in suburbia. We the mall was a big deal. The mall, the roller skating rink, mini golf. Mike, you remember the mini golf place? Okay, there's two that I remember really well. One was the really cool one with the waterfall in Mystic across from the cemetery, not directly across, but near the cemetery. Do you remember what I'm talking about? And it had the waterfall and stuff, and now there's a hotel there. That's very sad. And then the other one was the indoor one that was 2 stories over on Hamburger Hill by that's also known as Long Hill Road for anybody that's like, is that really what it's called? No. Um, there, it was sort of near like where D'Angelo's is, but there's that like little small strip. I think there's a chiropractor there now. Do you know what I'm talking about? That one was super fun too, but that's another one that I remember with the mini golf. Jason's here this morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Joanne said, wouldn't it be incredible if it turned into a holistic mall? Spas, herbs, flowers, meditation. I mean, that would be fun. I think it would be fun to include things like that. And if what my real estate friend Siobhan is saying is correct about the owners, then if those are local businesses and they're wanting to make the mall more about local businesses, then those would definitely be good options, right? Let me scroll. Teresa's here. You're just on time. Good to see you, Teresa. Multiplex area shops and apartments. I mean, I think apartments could be fun, but I want it like more than apartments. There's a video that's going around about an apartment complex that they made out of an old mall. I think it's in Providence, Rhode Island. I'm not positive, but anyway, they turn it into that, but I want to see more than a mall. Like I need more than a mall, more than apartments. I need the apartments and a roller skating rink in an Orange Julius. Okay, you guys, and hear me out. Oh, I love that. Yes, bring back the family and teen activities. I agree. I agree. Good morning, Rhonda. Good to see you. Had to take a break, but trying to get back to it. I'm glad you're gonna get back to it, Mike. I think you are doing so well. And sometimes a break is necessary, right? Glow in the Dark by Goodwill. I don't remember that. Maybe that was after I left. I don't know. Monster Golf. Is that what the one was called over? I don't know. I remember the 2-story one because it was always cool to me. The last hole in the indoor mini golf, you would hit the ball and it would go down, and then you would have to go downstairs. Your ball would land on the second floor. That was always fun to me. I'm easily amused, is what I'm saying. Brittany said we did go to the movies a lot. See, that's different too. The mall growing up was 40 minutes away for you. For us, it's just right here. Like it's literally, even growing up in Groton, it was 15 minutes away just across the bridge. So it wasn't a big thing. I dream constantly. Constantly. They used to have a mini golf at Lake Alexander with an indoor game room and a carousel. They still have like they've got the indoor carousel in Rhode Island at somebody help me out, Roger Williams. They still have that there. They used to have the indoor carousel in Mystic as well, but that's gone. So much has changed, and I'm not, we talked on Beyond 2D not long ago about we started a series about resilience, and then halfway through the series we decided that we don't like that word anymore. I'm still there. I would choose perseverance over resilience any day because I don't necessarily think it's of value to always bounce back. Sometimes it's just about moving forward. And so I gravitate more towards perseverance now than resilience. So there's some things about, being a nostalgic person that like I am where I go, I would love to go back. But I think for me, it's more about bringing back some of the things that were meaningful, that are going to matter today and make a difference, but doing it in our own way and that's appropriate for this time, if that makes sense, right? So anyway, you guys, I want to have you chime in on our joy versation today because that's this segment, but now we're talking about malls. What is your favorite mythological creature and why is the question today. What is your favorite mythological creature and why? Mine is for sure, first one that popped in my head was a mermaid. I loved Little Mermaid growing up. I love the ocean. I've shared that with you guys. And I love the idea of like having that time in the ocean, but still being able to pop up to the surface. Now, we know like I wouldn't want to give away my voice to get some legs every now and then. So there's that part. But I still do love the idea of a mermaid being able to float along, go with the tide, play with the sea creatures. I don't know. That's my favorite. I'm sticking to it. So we're going to take a super quick break. Comment down below what is your favorite mythological creature and why, and we'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Project Joy Live. Today is Friday, April 11th, 2025. We are smack in the middle of our joy versation today. What is your favorite mythological creature and why? Right before the break, I shared that mine is the mermaid. Love it. I just don't want to have to give away my voice to have legs every now and then. That's what I'm going with. Let's see. Jason said he loves dragons. I love that. We have some other dragon lovers here. Teresa said dragons because of their big, beautiful heart. I love it. Brittany said fairies and mermaids. I love it too. I love a fairy as well. And my favorite fairy depicted in sort of human form was when Julia Roberts played Tinkerbell in Hook. That's my favorite like representation of a of a fairy. I like a fairy with a little sass is what is what I'm trying to say. So I love that. Thank you for chiming in on our joy versation today. Joy versation is joy meets conversation. It's a way to get to know each other a little bit better on each episode of Project Joy Live. So I want to get to today's topic, which is discovering my Ikigai. And I'm going to relate it to spring a little bit for you guys, okay? Because parts of Connecticut just got snow. So I'm working on helping my friend Danielle out to get the snow melted in her yard and some warmer weather so she experiences more external joy. Um, because it's too cold for her, you guys. So as we're talking about spring, what we're doing is intentionally manifesting some warmer weather for Danielle. Okay, that's what we are doing today. All right. So for those of you who do not know what Ikigai is, maybe you've heard of it and you're just not sure, or maybe you don't know at all. Ikigai is a Japanese concept that translates to a reason for being or a reason to live. And basically takes us back to school days with a fun little Venn diagram. And I'm going to show it on the screen for you guys as we go through this. So basically, you go through 4 different areas. You look at those colors around the outside of this Venn diagram. The first one being, what are you good at? What are you good at? What are the things that you feel and sometimes well, I'll go back to this in a minute because I want to tell you too how I first processed this and why it has shifted for me. But you talk about what you're good at. You put it all in on that area in that circle. And then what do you love? Maybe it doesn't even have to be things that you're good at, but what do you really love? I know a lot of people who really love to sing, but they cannot carry a tune. That would be under what you love, but not necessarily what you're good at per se. The third circle is what the world needs. You identify. Now, again, I'm going to tie this into how I first processed the Ikigai for in a moment. But what does the world need? Evaluate those things that you feel like would make the world a better place. And then the fourth circle is what can you be paid for? What would people be willing to pay you for? Maybe you don't know. Maybe someone just came to you and said, if you had XYZ, I would pay you this sort of situation. That also may be a circle that you need to do a little research on. Okay, because not everybody necessarily knows what they can be paid for. Maybe they're unfamiliar with what people are willing to pay for and things like that. Okay, so those are the four areas. Now, when what you're good at and what you love overlap, that's your passion. So let's say you love singing and you're really good at singing, that would fall under the passion category. Okay. Then what you love and what the world needs overlap, and that becomes your mission. Okay. That's not just your passion, but this is what's going to give you that drive, right? Then you take the what the world needs circle and what you can be paid for, and that becomes your vocation. All right. What you do for work. That's the doing part. And then you overlap what you're good at with what you can be paid for, and that becomes your profession, your realm of what the realm in which you work. Okay. So all of these things overlap, and then there's smaller things here which I can't even I can't even I need to zoom in. The bifocals are not bifocaling here. But don't then you can see where the three things overlap and there's smaller bits in there, and all of that together becomes your ikigai or reason for being. Now, I will say again, I was a part of a beautiful panel last night on LinkedIn where many of us discussed your ikigai, how we came to it, some random thoughts about it and things like that. And so you can go check out, I put the link down in the show notes for you to check out as well. But let me know if you've ever heard of this before. Okay. um Now, I want to tell you first, let me go back. Danielle, we were just talking about you. Good morning. Good to see you. We're currently manifesting warmer weather for you and less snow. Um, Jason doesn't like owls because they have big eyes. I love owls, but I'm sorry you don't like them. Um, Let me go. Teresa said, I love working the Ikigai. I learned it a while back and I'm thrilled that you are bringing this through. I love it as well. I'm going to share with you sort of my journey about this as well. So when I first heard about Ikigai a while back, and I'm gonna come back to the graphic in a minute. When I first heard about it a while back, the concept, I do a very Jessica thing where I get excited about something and then I jump right in. But because I jump right in without really learning more about it, it's very surface level for me. So when we're talking about some of these categories, I would think about, for example, what the world needs category. Okay. That one, when I first learned about Ikigai, I would think about what the world tells me that the world needs. Does that make sense? What do people outside of myself tell me that the world needs? When I found it more recently again, my new question for that is what do I believe the world needs? What do those who are closest to me in my circle believe the world needs? And it's also good to reevaluate some of these categories because I think over time, our awareness of things change. And so some of these can shift a little bit. However, I feel like there's a caveat to that, and we'll talk about it just a minute. Danielle's never heard of it before, so I'm so glad you're listening in today, Danielle. And Sharon said, "Good morning, Sharon. I realize my life's work has been using the Ikigai way. When I'm doing my life's work, I am living this Ikigai. I learned it about 6 years ago, and it felt like home to me." And it's interesting, right? Because I know a lot of people that take to the concept, but I think it's important to dive deeper than surface level on this topic because there's so much of it that it has just been really mind blowing for me in recent, the recent months or so, in working deeper with it. But basically you go through all of these questions, and you find those places that overlap. It can help you find your purpose, your reason for being. Now, there was a few concepts that we talked about on the panel last night. The first was if people believe that uh, it's something that it always exists the same or if it changes over time. And I think there were many of us on the panel that have the belief that our soul, our core ikigai remain is the same throughout our entire life. There's many of us that on the panel that felt that way, and I am one of those people that feels that way. However, what we have the opportunity to change over time is how it looks. And learning about the Ikigai method of, determining your purpose or your reason for being is one of those tools that has given me permission to be as multi-passionate as I am. I can't tell you how many times growing up I heard, "Jessica, just focus. Why don't you just do this?" Even today, and I got to come back on the big camera for this because some of y'all have said this to me. "You're taking on too much, Jessica. You're doing all these things, Jessica. Find a place to focus, Jessica." I'm going to be real with you. That is not who I am. It's not who I am. And for so long, I listened to everyone else outside of me telling me to rein it in. And we've even talked about this before when I've talked about health things. How many people have said to me, with the greatest intentions, by the way, "Don't forget to rest, Jessica, and take a break." Dude, it's in my calendar. That's how committed I am to taking care of myself. My rest time is literally scheduled in. Okay. And so I listened when I first started evaluating all of this stuff. I listened to everybody outside of me instead of going, "What does Jessica need?" And this gives me the permission to focus on my purpose. Okay. Focus on my purpose, but also I could change my mind every 5 minutes if if I want, that's part of the beauty. So my ikigai has always been about helping people to tap into that magic within them and not be afraid to share their story and their message. It has always been that as far back as I look. But how that looks in the moment might be very different. It might come out as a show. It might come out as a book that I'm writing. You guys know there's a very special book coming out here very soon called There Will Be Hugs, which is my first children's book. It might come out as a children's book. It might come out as my book that I wrote before about, thriving through change, which is a workbook style book. It might come out as the book that made me an international bestseller, which is it's a story. It's a real life story. And so following the method of finding your ikigai has given me permission to be who I am, but let it manifest at whatever it needs to look like in the moment, and allow me to feel good about it. So my processing of the Ikigai more recently has been going back over all these questions and going outside of me myself where I need some help, but mostly bringing it back within and going, what does Jessica love? What does Jessica need? What does Jessica believe the world needs right now? What kind of world do I want to see? You know, and that has made the experience so much more amazing. We are, many of you guys know that we do Soul Saturday morning coffee every Saturday morning in the Breakthrough Show Network virtual community at 9:30 a.m. It is free and open to the public, but the doors do lock at 9:35. So this is an activity where you need to be on time, because we get into some really deep emotional things. But when we go into the month of May, I'm going to take everybody through some of the more nuanced and deeper questions that I have been processing for myself about this recently. So definitely jump in and join us for that. You can learn more information at the breakthroughshownetwork.club. If Miss Brittany is here, if you would drop that in the comments for me, I would really appreciate it. But we're going to dive in a little bit further. I want to answer a couple questions really quickly. I'm doing me. That's all I can do. I don't know who this is. I need to go. Hold on. I need to go see who this is. Hope. Thank you so much for chiming in. Um, and she said, if I do only one thing, I get bored. I would be neglecting the other parts of what makes me me. All of this I can't, I get bored. I get my creativity drops. I become uninspired. um I love to do one thing, lots of different things at the one time, and it's just who I am. It creates a fire and a spark in me that I don't see when I'm doing one thing, one job, or what everybody else wants me to do rather than what Jessica wants to do. This is why I'm not good in a 9 to 5, boys and girls. Just not good. It's not me. And so I love this. I love this conversation. Thank you so much for chiming in on that. And Jason asked, what is the origin of the word? It's a Japanese word. It's a Japanese word and concept. And there are some really great books, which if you go to the link in the show notes to rewatch the panel from last night, Ollie dropped the links there to the books that we talked about. Somebody on the panel had brought up, I think it was Denise, had brought up a couple of the books. And so you can definitely go check that out as well. The other thing I wanted to chime in on was a fantastic question posed by, let me make sure I'm correct here. Justin Peterson was in the audience and asked this question. But I purposely chose not to answer it on the show because it's such a layered question, and I'm going to do my best with it right now. He basically asked if any of us on the panel had had a period of time in our lives where we weren't living our ikigai, and if that had a negative effect on our life. We know that the mental, spiritual, emotional is so incredibly connected to our physical. And that has been a lot of my story. I have shared that even before, so when I first learned about Ikigai, a lot of it was very surface level, and I was sort of looking outside of myself for the answers to things. And but even before I knew about the concept of Ikigai, I would always spend an excess amount of time processing and thinking through and waffling on about what everybody else wanted for my life. And I have also shared that the majority of my life, I have dealt with a lot of chronic health issues. And as I've been in this place of reflection about my own ikigai, um, I 100 million% believe that those two things are connected. In addition, there was a specific period of time. As I was growing up, I love music. That falls under the what I love part of my Ikigai. I love music. I learned how to play piano very young, clarinet, oboe, guitar, recorder. I sing, I write music. I love music. And when I try really hard to hold it together here. um, when I was a freshman in high school, my grandfather had that helped to raise me had a stroke, and he had a mini stroke at first, and then the next morning he had a major stroke and left him unable to walk, talk, anything for the next 14 years. While my grandmother took impeccable care of him at home, and then a couple years before he passed, he was in the nursing home and she was in the assisted living next door. Um, sh it was a situation where that was a lot. It was a lot to process. It was a lot to process for me. Um, and so I think about that time, and I remember volunteering at the nursing home that my grandfather was first in when he had his stroke. And when he was in, like, they put you in like a recovery type therapy program and all that. And I was volunteering in the rec department, and I used to go and sing to the residents. Um, and specifically, the patients would come in who had Alzheimer's and dementia and couldn't remember that their kids had come by to visit. They couldn't remember so much. And I would come in and I would hook up my put in my cassette tape that'll age me for a minute, uh, and turn on my microphone, and I would sing these songs, and the patients would all remember the words. And it was magic. It was magic. It was the first time that I had really experienced that it doesn't matter always what we see on the outside. There's always stuff going on in here that we can't see. And so that had inspired me. And I said, I love music and I love this process of healing. I want to do music therapy. And I applied to Yale, which is one of our schools here in New Haven, Connecticut. Um, and I got in. I got in. And then I got scared. And I listened to a lot of people outside of myself. And I didn't go. And fast forward to this time, married, abusive marriage, divorce, 6 kids. The last 25 years, I really hadn't spent a lot of time tapping back into all of that music that I loved so much. My performing on stage became singing lullabies to my kids. Occasional karaoke. But those of you that are musicians understand what happens to the voice over time with hormones, babies, lack of training. So my voice is nothing like it was. It's very different now. And throughout that period of time, the last 25 years, I have seemed to manifest one health issue after another. And as I've leaned in to doing my shows, singing more, tapping into what brings Jessica the most joy. Now, it has been a very slow process, making better choices for myself, boundaries, all of these things. As I have leaned further into my purpose, my passion, my mission, my ikigai, slowly but surely, little bits of those layers have been peeled off. We know that it takes the body a long time to catch up to the work we're doing mentally, spiritually, emotionally. But that's my direct answer to Justin Peterson's question that he so beautifully posed last night, is what can happen if we're not living our Ikigai? We can see physical, mental, emotional, spiritual strain in so many areas of our lives. And then now I get the joy of watching those layers peel off one by one as I continue to lean into what that purpose is. I have an analogy for you that I want to share as well, but I want to head over to we are twins. We're twins. It's happening. Hi, Jason. You're welcome. Richard's here this morning. Good morning, Richard. Good to see you. Thank you so much for having me a part of the panel last night. It was really a great discussion, and as I shared, I linked that below in the comments for you guys, so you can go watch the replay of that as well. And so many, like, I have all these new friends now, which is really great. Margaret I already knew, but Julie, Charity, Div, Denise, who else did I, oh my god, it's so many people met last night that was so great and wonderful. But that has been my journey, more recently, is being able to watch those layers peel off. And the analogy that I want to share with you guys about this, there were a few of us last night that talked about how your Ikigai, in the same exact way as I talk about joy here on Project Joy Live, which is that joy is who you are. Your Ikigai, your purpose is already within you. It's already there. Your Ikigai, even though you're putting together all of these questions and making the cute little Venn diagram and all of that, the answers are not outside of yourself. It's already there. And as I was thinking about this, guys, I've shared this before that I have a black thumb. I try really hard, but I kill the plants, and I'm so sorry. Here's the thing. I remember times when, let me know if you guys can relate to this. Anybody ever plant something and not labeled it, and then start to see things coming up out of the ground, and you go, what in the hell is this that I just planted? Anybody else, please raise your hand and let me know that I'm not alone in this, okay? Let me know I'm not alone in this. I have planted things before, and then things start to bloom, and I'm like, what in the world did I plant? I have no recollection of this at all. Or maybe we planted something and the package said one thing, and you thought you were planting an apple tree, and now you have onions. That was a really crap example, but let me know if you've ever done that before. Danielle said, "Yep, me." Okay, thank you for not leaving me alone in this, because I know I cannot be the only one. But this is my analogy, okay? Your Ikigai, all of the experiences that you've been through, all of the your soul level things that already exist. That's those seeds inside of you, right? And springtime is the perfect time of year because we start to see little things popping up, okay, under the ground. We're not sure necessarily what has been planted. Sometimes we need to, you know, water them, fertilize them. Maybe like we're in 2025. You could, there's what's the thing on the Google where you can take a picture and it'll tell you what it is. There's plant apps where you can like identify plants. You can do the work to figure out what are these seeds that are deep inside of me that we have planted, what is happening here, and then they bloom. and you pick apart these little things and you put them together and you do that work to try to identify the plant. What the hell seed did I plant? And maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know what seeds it is I planted, but damn it, I'm going to water it. I'm going to fertilize it. I'm going to sing to it. I probably need to sing to my plants, if I'm being honest. I got a basil plant today. You guys, please send thoughts and prayers. Perhaps I need a GoFundMe. Uh, but you're going to nurture that plant, even though you might not know what seeds were planted. You might not know what's there, because the payoff is that you're going to get a beautiful plant of some kind. Okay. You're going to get to identify that plant in the end. And then you have an opportunity. Maybe it's a plant you could use. Maybe it's a plant somebody else could use. Maybe it'll be a plant you can eat. Maybe it'll be a plant that you can make beautiful the areas around you. But either way, when you do this work to nurture those little buds that are coming up that you're like, I kind of feel this, but I'm not really sure what it is, do the work to discover what your Ikigai is, what your purpose is, what are those seeds that have been planted. And there will be so much joy. There will be so much joy. I promise you. I promise you. All right. So listen, we're going to take a super quick break. And when we come back, we're going to finish up this conversation. We've got birthdays and all of that. But let me know how you're feeling about your Ikigai after today. If you know what your Ikigai is, type it down in the comments. If you're committed to going, hey, I'm going to look into this, let me know as well. And we're going to be right back after this. Don't go anywhere. Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com. Welcome back to Project Joy Live. Today is Friday, April 11th, 2025. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. I'm so excited to be here with you today and to have had this conversation with you. It seems like something that so many people are interested in, and I definitely, again, cannot recommend enough that you go check out the replay from last night's panel discussion with Richard Lowenthal, Kenyatta. There were so many, all the people that were there. Okay. You can go learn about everybody when you go watch it. Danielle and Jason both said they're going to take a look at it and see if it's something that they can work with. I love that. And Sharon said, my Ikigai is sharing, creating my legacy of gratitude with the world. I love that. And you're definitely doing that, right? And that also, like, it's manifested in different ways. You've written your book, you've come on Project Joy, you're doing Ask the Trainer now, and your segments for Project Joy. So I love that you're getting things out to the world. I just mentioned all my stuff there. Sharon also does her own things too. But so there's that. So listen, I want to do birthdays really quick. We'll close things out and all that fun stuff. But I hope that this conversation that we've had today is useful for you and that it brings you even more joy, or ways to tap into the joy you already are, as you go forth. All right, let's do birthdays. Happy birthday to you. All right. The truth is, you guys, I don't have that many birthdays today. Today was one of those days where when I looked at the famous birthdays for today, I felt incredibly old. I felt incredibly old. I'm like, who are these people? I bet you I'm going to do this after the show. I'm going to show the list to my kids. I bet you they'll know most of them. This is the point we're at in the world, okay? But in the famous celebrities, Michelle Phan, 38 years old today. Happy birthday, Michelle. She fascinated me, you guys, back in the day. She had a beauty brand that she was working on YouTube. I remember a lot of her old makeup tutorials and things from years ago. And then she turned that, talk about living your Ikigai. She turned that into an incredible global brand. She started with her subscription box. It was called Glam Bags, my Glam or Glam Bag, and then moved into Ipsy bags. And they're fantastic. If you're like, hey, I like the makeup or the skincare, you can go check out those bags. But I had them for quite some time. They send you a cute little bag every month and it has beauty products in it. But happy birthday, Michelle Phan, 38 years old today. In addition, a celebrity in my life, Trip Bodenheimer, also known as Bodie, has a birthday coming up this weekend as well. So I hope you are scheduled to have an amazing day. And that's all I have for birthdays for today, this weekend, all of that. So happy birthday to everybody else that I know is celebrating somewhere. And let's get our birthday song on. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michelle Phan and Trip Bodenheimer. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all those that are celebrating. I hope you are set up to have an absolutely amazing celebration. As we finish out the show today, I want to remind everybody that we do have virtual co-working happening right after this. You can join us in our virtual community at the breakthroughshownetwork.club. And our co-working time together is in the collaborative co-working space, which you can find under, you guessed it, workspaces. So you can go check out, again, the breakthroughshownetwork.club. Go check that out. In addition, as I shared in the show, Brittany and I have a book launching on April 19th. This is, even though I'm an international best-selling author, this is my first ever children/family book. There's a lot of love in this, you guys. It's based on the true story of mine and Brittany's friendship. Brittany is the illustrator of this book with all the cute little koalas. We have some amazing story times coming up. We have incredible things for the launch, and I would love for everybody to get your hands on the physical copy of this book, which will be available the 19th, or you can even pre-order the ebook available now. Okay, so you can do that by going to the breakthroughshownetwork.com. There's a link at the top for There Will Be Hugs, and you can check that out. There's also a Facebook event. You'll see posts on social media and all that fun stuff, but we would love for you to get a copy and also share about it with your family and friends. This is a fantastic story about the power of intentional friendship and how, in a world that is so focused on everything that we don't have in common, everything that divides us, reasons why we can't be friends, reasons why we can't have a conversation, cutting people off because we're different. This book is going to remind you about the power of intentional friendships, about focusing on the things that we have in common and bring us together, and of course, the power of a hug. Okay, so definitely check that out. The link is down in the show description as well. As we close today, I want to leave you with a gentle reminder. Just like the earth is blooming around us in the springtime, you are also being invited to bloom. Spring doesn't rush the flowers to open. Lord knows it's not rushing here in the state of Connecticut. And neither should you rush the process of discovering those things that light you up. Your Ikigai, your reason for being, doesn't have to be loud or big or perfect. It might start as a whisper, a curiosity, a tiny seed of something you've always loved but pushed aside. And yet, when you give it attention, space, and love, it will grow. You don't have to have it all figured out today, but what you can do today is begin. You can notice what brings you peace, what energizes you, what you do effortlessly, and what the world needs that only you can give. Because that's the beautiful truth. You already, we talk about this every episode, you already carry everything you need to live with purpose and joy inside of you. It's already there. So go out today, like the tulips and the cherry blossoms, open to the sun, rooted in the earth, and blooming exactly as you are. This is your season, your time, and your joy. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I, of course, want to remind you that I love you so much today, and you are the joy. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.